real test starts from here on, and the ultimate achievement will be measured in terms of the contribution that all the stakeholders will make. So in other words, from here on, what happens in practice will in the end be measured against the number of jobs we can save. And then lastly, to abuse the opportunity, I was talking about what happens in practice. We are so pleased that the Chamber indicated that there must be a spirit of partnership. Yesterday, when the commercialization of Unit 6 of Bedupe, President Jacob Zuma indicated that business and labor must be more mature, and the approach, there must be less conflict. And then today, the Chamber representative referred to the spirit of partnership, and we must join hands. So we just ask the Chamber in future, if you put a wage offer on the table and is accepted, please don't slap our hand away, because we also would like to take your hand and to make the mining industry more sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wasa?
From your other side,
That's it. Yeah, let's come through. Right.
yes. From your other side, we are pleased to partake in this initiative, and we would like to thank the Minister for his initiative, because at the end of the day, he was the person that actually called the whole Handaba at Diepenberg, if you could remember. And he made it quite clear that we have to sit around the table and we've got to get to an agreement to save jobs. And basically, we are here today to actually announce to the world, not only to South Africa, that as tripartite, we have conquered that mission to get to a situation where we can sign the agreement. However, this is only the start of a journey for us, because the technical task team will go into further depth to basically unravel the whole thing into more detail, so that we don't just look at the short-term situation, but also a medium to long-term situation where we can save jobs. So there is a lot of work that still needs to be done in terms of medium to long term, and we are pleased to say that this is one of the few occasions that from government side, not only the DMR has participated in this task team, but all departments within government has collaborated and given their input. And therefore, you are of the opinion that this process will succeed. It will save jobs, and it will give us an outcome that is positive in terms of the South African economy as far as the mining sector is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wasa. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to now ask the Minister to give concluding remarks on the signing of the declaration.
Well, I think I've already thanked the parties for very sterling work that has been done over the past few weeks. And I'm very much hopeful that going forward we should be able to ameliorate and save as many jobs as possible, and to intervene where in other ways. As mentioned in the declaration, with regard to aftercare of those who might be out of the situation. But our first part is to try and save the jobs. That's the focus of this exercise. And again, I want to thank everybody for giving us the opportunity, for participating, for ensuring that we emerge with this outcome. It was not easy. Obviously, the taste of the pudding is in the eating, and we are going to have to start eating the pudding at the implementation level. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Members of the media, it's your time now. I'm going to open up. I'll open this session for question and answer, but we'll identify a few hands, and then we'll give the panel here an opportunity to be able to respond to your questions. A show of hands, as usual, your name, where you come from, and then your question. I'll start on this side. All right? And then 2, 3, 4. Thank you very much.
Switch it off, no? Okay, that's all right.
Thank you. My name is Fred Muma from SABC News. It seems that the operational word is ameliorate. Does that mean that this agreement, or does it mean there's no agreement on stopping retrenchment? There's no moratorium. No moratorium has been agreed to stop retrenchment. Are retrenchment still going to proceed? And then related to that, how many people in the industry are facing retrenchments? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mampumela Losiziba from SABC TV News. I just wanted to ask a question that's connected to what my colleague Frank asked, and that is, are you able to give us specifics as to which particular firms are going to be able to save jobs that they had otherwise anticipated they were going to have to cut?
Good day, I'm Andre Janse van Vuren from Bloomberg News. Just for clarity, I am not familiar with the Deputy President of AMCO. I'll appreciate if you can just repeat his surname for us. Then in the second place, just on one of the 10-point proposals that you've made, Minister, you've mentioned fiscal relief. Can you be maybe a bit more specific about the possibilities there? Does it include maybe some sort of tax relief? If you can be more specific, thank you very much.
Okay, there was another. Okay,
Hi, I'm Zandi from Reuters News. I think one of the points that you mentioned, Minister, was the promotion of minerals from South Africa. Is there a plan to have platinum as a reserve currency in some central banks? Also, is that supported by the local, our central bank and maybe other banks in the world? Thank you.
okay. Thank you very much.
Are we ready?
Are we ready?
Okay, I'm just writing down the last question. Minerals, like, what is it? Platinum. We have not used the word moratorium, but what we have done was what we have achieved here was to say, if SN retrenchment processes begin, there is inclusivity, there's active participation by all stakeholders with the view to ensuring that we emerge with a product that is acceptable to all participants. And therefore, we recognize that we may not be able to save all the jobs. And that's why other measures kick in, such as what has been referred to as government beginning to contribute towards retraining and reskilling, and that the business also bring its side on board. So we're looking at a multifaceted intervention. That's what this basket provides. So I would want to pass that on that note. Which companies are affected? We didn't go to the level of companies as we speak, but this framework agreement then, because the chamber represents organized industry, both the big ones and medium ones, I am aware. And so the engagement will happen at company level with the participation of all of us, but would be bound by this agreement as we engage. And the department is really committed to being part of that process in terms of application of the laws of the land. And in our case, it's Section 52 of Mineral Resources Act. Now, we are asking how many people are likely to be affected. As we speak now, in terms of the notices that have come this way, is more or less 11,798 potential. I want to emphasize potential job losses, and we would want to deal with this number as effectively as we can. We will be engaging the Department of Finance to deal with fiscal matters. But you would be aware that one of the things we are beginning to refer to has to do with the test that comes from imports of capital goods into the Republic. Now, and we are beginning to say we would want that tax to seed a fund that can be embellished by other means, so that we don't come this way again, helpless as we might seem to be in the absence of such a relief. Now, well, of course, we are also intending on negotiating with the Reserve Bank, with your BRICS Bank. You know, in my time as a youngster, I used to read the notes of a rand, and it says, I promise to pay the bearer in gold, equivalent to this. I would hope we can one day reach a point where we say, I promise to pay the bearer in platinum equivalent, to add to the basket of. So we're looking at internal promotion. We're looking also at, this is not an isolated exercise, because amongst other things is beneficiation your fuel cells here in South Africa. So we would want to move very rapidly in the direction of industrialization, so that we do not confine and find ourselves bound exclusively to the export model of the economy when it comes to minerals. So definitely there will be lots of initiatives in that direction. We are establishing special industrial zones in South Africa, amongst which we are hoping to plant some of these activities which are mining related and therefore can assist in job conservation and job creation. That's where we are at this stage with respect to those 4 questions. Please, yeah, you want to add some there?
I think, colleagues, you have to be very mindful of the fact that South Africa is a constitutional democracy. And this committee here, or the stakeholders here, have no powers to amend and change the laws of the country. So we'll only do what is permissible in law. The changing of the laws will be done through Parliament. But what we are doing here is an emergency intervention to try and ameliorate what the challenge faces South Africa.
Thank you, Samna. Do you want to add to that portion? Anyone?
Any additions?
Please. Yeah.
I think one must be careful, as the Minister has indicated, that one can't just place a moratorium on the whole situation as what we have it at this point in time. It is difficult, and one needs to be practical, because there's always a fine balance between what happens in the business and the timing of what things are at this point in time. Part of the people that have partaken in the technical task team was the CCMA, and for the practical situation, the CCMA facilitators, along with the DMR, will go through a full training program at this point in time, whereby they will inform those facilitators in what to do, in how can they actually implement the law as per Section 189A(3)(d) in terms of any extensions. And one needs to be careful that that portion is done in a very responsible manner. and hence the fact that we came up with the agreement as it is. Thank you.
About the surname,
And you want to add? And you want to add something? No, just a minute. Eddie wants to comment.
Yeah. As NUM, we are against retrenchment. So moratorium was important to be put in place, but as you know that the retrenchment is something that has been going on, and as some are saying, it's part of the labor law of this country. We think that the engagements in this regard for reskilling of workers is part of avoiding retrenchment, in the sense that if person have acquired a relevant skill, he can be redeployed again in the same company that needs special skills. Remember, the crisis here is about the prices of commodities internationally, and it can happen that things can turn around internationally while these people are still in training, and that will mean that they would be redeployed again in the same companies. So it is important to have such, but we are powerless because of the fact that it's lawful. So. But we, from the notice and information that we have, Minister, here, that it's about 19,000 potential retrenchment that is envisaged by the industry. But like the Minister have said, it's potential. We have like to emphasize that because we're still going to engage on the ground. This is a framework to try to put mechanism to stop such bloodshed kind of job losses. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's go. Let's take more.
Another round of questions? And I would appeal that you exhaust as much as we can. Just these two. Okay, you can shoot.
Those were the stakeholders in the mining industry, with the minister signing that accord, call it the Principles Mining Industry Commitment today.
Thank you. My name is Dineo Faku. I'm a reporter at Business Report. The statement talks about contributing towards a development fund. Please tell us more about this development fund. Who will contribute? How much money is to be contributed towards this fund, and how it will work? And secondly, I just wanted to get more from Mr. Sterling. He talked about more work being needed to be done in the long to medium term. What, or can you give us color exactly, what he meant? Thank you.
Hi, Matthew Brink from CCTV. For Angela Kotler. What does the declaration mean, and what practical steps are to be taken? And what is the situation with Glencore? Thank you.
Is there anybody else who's got another question? Okay.
Hi there, thank you. My name is Govan from Eyewitness News. I just wanted to get a little bit of clarity on the first point in the declaration. I'm not sure if I understood it correctly, Minister. You said the delay of retrenchments to allow for more consultation. Is there a time frame of how long that can be delayed for, or what kind of delay are you talking about there? Thank you.
We're taking a question of Sabuda from TVC News, headquarters in Nigeria. Is it possible to get a consensus on the number of jobs that were potentially at risk? Because we've had 11,000, we've had more than 11,000, we've had more than that. Is it possible for us to get one number that everybody could run with?
Thank you very much. Let me give the opportunity
To the table to answer. Okay, we're starting with number 5. Now, I think I've referred to the foreign levy that is being charged on importation of capital goods into the country. And we are, in terms of this agreement, exploring means and ways of using it as a seed to fund, to create, in some countries they call this money sovereign funds or development fund. But you want to have money available which comes from the industry itself in terms of our activities. In this specific case, I'm referring to the levy that already exists, so it means some discussions have to go on between ourselves and the Ministry of Finance, and then we can set up that fund which will assist us to rechannel people who leave mining industry into other activities. We can add on that in terms of the specifics. We're talking about long term, middle term, and so on. But your fund is one of those long-term interventions. And then your immediate interventions are the ones such as, if there is a notice under Section 189 of the Labour Relations Act, mediation continues to happen, discussions continues, and the Mineral Resources Act Section 52 kicks in so that the process is managed jointly. It's one of the immediate measures that come out of this agreement. What's happening at Glencore? We decided to treat Glencore as a separate issue. However, what we on the 5th announced was the suspension of the license of Glencore, and to allow for more meaningful engagement between the department and the various social partners, labor and Glencore, optimum management. Now, the situation is such that we have been able to open discussions, and we within 48 hours were in a position to lift the suspension of the license on the basis of certain undertakings that Optimum has made to the department, and we are following through with those measures. We hope we can find resolution quickly, partly because you'd be aware that this mine is dedicated to Enrina power station. So we don't want a very long, drawn-out process which prevents production from going on. So that's what is happening, and that's what informs our approach in this regard. We don't want to add to load shedding, in the middle of all this. So we're alive to all those challenges as we manage the situation. Now, I think I've already touched on number 7, because we say delay of retrenchment to allow for consultations. I think that has been touched. Consensus on the numbers, I'm sure we should be able to reconcile these numbers between the department and the unions and the industry and the chambers. And I think we'll be able to do that and give you one solid number. Thank you very much. There may be additions that you want to do. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Gentleman who asked about the issue of timeframes. Look, the Labour Relations Act does allow for parties to agree to an extension or consultation. What this intervention that you've signed actually deals with is, after the legal intervention period as contained in the Labour Relations Act, that when you keep the notice for actual dismissal after 60 days notice, that during that process, consultation additionally continue for another extra 30 days. So it's an additional 30 days of consultation even after the notice has been given. So those are actually the time frames. But it does not stop any parties, including employers and employees, to extend the actual 60 days period before the actual notice of termination comes in. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can I just, there is a question that was asked about what is actually entailed in this period, that these time frames that have been set. You would notice that one of the interventions that has been identified and agreed upon by all the parties is the opportunity to unlock and create jobs through concurrent rehabilitation. I think this is something that we believe is quite a significant milestone in the sense that some of you may recall that generally we tend to do rehabilitation activities at the back end of the mining activity. I think the ability to tap into some of the funds that are already mobilized through the department, we believe that it would also have a long-term impact in terms of softening, the impact on those employees that potentially could have lost jobs. I think these are some of the things that may take some time for us to get to the detail about how they're going to work themselves out. And that's within the remit of the task team to actually look at the specifics in terms of how to actually give effect to the implementation of those.
There was a question on the development fund, Minister.
Yeah.
The issue of I think it was from Janelle, about the development fund. As it stands, the charter requires the companies, those which are supplying imported goods, capital goods to the mining industry, that I think it's 5%, 0.5%. 0.5% of the cost, that is the value of the invoice, must be retained. Now, what we're doing here is now to put in place the requirements of the law and the modalities as to one who will then going to start managing, because the charter is quite as to who must manage that fund. It just says 0.5% must be retained. It doesn't say who must retain it, the companies themselves, and what should be in an escrow account or whatever. Now the task team is going to sit together and come up with modalities to enforce, to make that thing it is actually activated.
Just to end. Yeah, please, Minister. Just to add on in terms of the medium to short term, with regards to Dineo's question, part and parcel of the whole situation, as Peter explained now from Samda, is basically to put those things that we have discussed about, those things that we have in law, to put a mechanism in place to actually have those funds available in a medium and long-term situation. Currently, we're sitting with a situation, and as the Minister has indicated, although Optimum is treated as an entity on their own, part of the preconditions that the Minister has spoken about is part of the interventions that we have spoken about here, and which one of is the rehabilitation, what the DG has negotiated with him. So basically you would be able to see that although this is a document that is only signed today, that part of what we've discussed has already been implemented sort of on an ongoing basis. So therefore, at the long end, we have decided not to have just a talk shop this time around, but to basically have a plan in place that could really save jobs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we've exhausted as much as we can, unless if there's one or two follow-up questions. I don't see any show of hands. Let me close this session and ask the special advisor to come up and make an announcement before we conclude.
Thank you so much, Program Director, and thank you, Minister, and principals from the business and labor. I just want to make this announcement that the statement which has been signed, members of the media will get that. But because it has just been signed now, you'll get unsigned copies. It will also be on our website. But I also just want to thank my colleagues who received my SMSs during early hours and to come. I apologize for the inconvenience and cost when we were inviting you. Coupled with the statement, I'll also take this opportunity to just announce that our minister had a 2-day small-scale mining in Lizo last week in KZN, where he was basically looking at the same efforts of trying to create new jobs in the small sector as well. And we are pleased to announce that last week, our minister and the Premier of KZN signed what we call the KZN esikhaleni small-scale mining resolutions. So we've got copies of that resolution. It's another effort to try and say we need to assist in creating new jobs as well. We need small-scale miners and to work together with big business to create jobs. So journalists would get two. At least you have been invited for this one, but there is a bonus that will also cover what happened last week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. Along with this competition, thank business, thank labor, and also thank the Honorable Minister for this meeting. I think this deserves a round of applause. It just sounded like a very let the good news reach the nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Minister. We're looking forward to implementing it. Yeah. Thank you.
4 weeks off.
At least you're here.
But you know,
yes.
We need to make sure.
No, that's good. That's very good. That's very I need to run to go and do other things, but me and you have to have a look at